chapter 95 verse 6 says, "Oh come, let us worship and bow down. Let us kneel before the Lord, our Maker." We are continuing yet another discussion on worship. I'm your host, Tammie Marsham.
And I'm Kelron Baylor.
And you're watching CBLink.
Worship leaders should be the ones that burn with a passion for God that others want to follow.
Oh yes.
On today's episode, we have the praise team leader of the Cold Bay Seventh-day Adventist Church, Brother Omar Hunter.
Hi everybody, I am Omar Hunter, as he mentioned, the praise team leader, and I'm happy to be here on this episode, of course.
It's a privilege to have you.
Thank you.
So, Brother Hunter, what do you consider the main responsibilities of a worship leader?
The main responsibility is to recognize, create, and amplify a culture of worship within a specific church. And why I said this, if a person from, let's say, Pentecostal church comes to the Adventist church and gets baptized, you don't just put them straight into being the worship leader. We have to understand that we as Adventists, we have doctrines, but at the same time we also have cultures. So although the doctrine is straight around, it's the same thing around the world, because we're one world church. But the culture, if you go in a church in Africa, worship totally different from how we worship. I know. While in the church that I grew up in, they are orthodox. I can tell you that much.
Wow.
They don't want to see drum just because they have not been exposed to that, and they grew up like that. So they do not want any type of drum in their church. So it is up to myself now, as the worship leader, to know the culture of the church and the doctrines of the church. So one of my responsibilities is to actually know those things and actually apply the proper song within the context of what I just mentioned.
It's a good thing you say that, because how important is it as the praise team leader to have a relationship with Christ?
Okay, take this for example. It's a relationship with Christ, and we have to realize that when we come to sing, it's not just about singing, it is about worshiping. No, we're worshiping Christ, isn't that so?
Yes.
So if I'm just going up and singing, am I actually singing to Christ? What's the sense of just singing? So I am worshiping and I'm leading everybody in worship. So how can I lead everybody into worshiping Christ that I don't personally know?
That is
So
true.
I have to first have that relationship, and then it will be portrayed, and I can then lead everybody and we all join together and worship Christ.
Amen. Because how I see it, no matter when you pick up the microphone, whether it's a Sunday or Wednesday night service or a Sabbath,
The same
you
feeling.
are displaying your growth, your spiritual journey to others whenever you pick up that microphone to sing. And as you rightfully say, worship is the introduction to the throne room of Christ. So it's very important as praise team leaders and those who are on the praise team to have a relationship with Christ, because you are ushering others to the throne room.
Yes, the whole team.
The Bible prescribes that skilled men and women should lead out in the singing and playing of music. Now, Brother Hunter, how do you prepare your team for each service in that regard?
No, I am very lucky. This is my first time, and I have a wonderful team.
Amen.
I think you guys might know about it. But Seeing that's an inside joke. They're both a part
Yes.
of the praise team. But we have a diverse praise team, and what we do before each worship, the songs are sent, and we sit together and we practice. Now we talk about skilled men. We also have the musicians practicing with us, so that it's not just come and sing on Sabbath morning or Wednesday night, but it is to practice before, because everybody can give their input. Suppose this song doesn't really blend into the other, so everybody gives their input, and then we can work out the different parts instead of everybody just going up and just saying let's just wing it. No, we practice, and with our skilled individuals, it makes it right and
Oh, yes.
lovely.
Because the members know when you're just winging it.
Believe me, they know. They know. Wonderful, merciful Savior, precious Redeemer and friend. Ooh, thought that rescue the souls of men. Oh, you rescue the souls of men.
Counselor, comforter, keeper, spirits belong to embrace. You offer hope when our hearts stand hopelessly lost away. Oh, we've hopelessly lost the way.
You are the one that we praise. You are the one we adore. You give a healing and grace. Our hearts always hunger for. Oh, hearts always hunger for. Almighty infinite Father, faithfully loving your own. Here in no weakness you find us, falling before your throne. Oh, we're falling before your throne. You are the one that we praise. You are the one we adore. You give the healing and grace. Our hearts always hunger for. Oh, hearts always hunger for. One that we praise. You are the one we adore. You give the healing and grace. Our hearts always hunger for. Oh, hearts always hunger.
Are the accolades and affirmations of church members important to you and your team? I know there are times when praise team will render this wonderful, wonderful praise worship, and then the members would indicate after the service how truly blessed and inspired they were. Is that important to you?
It is very important, and it's not about getting praised, but we have to realize that what we do lead out in, it's giving thanks and praise to God. Now, a lot of the times while we worship, most of it is from above coming down. So when we read the scripture, it is for our upliftment. When the pastor preaches, it's about our upliftment. So 2 times when it's about lifting up to God, it's when we pray and when we sing. The sing, we actually give all of that is not really for us, it's about praising God.
Yes.
So when at the end of the day, when a person can say, I was blessed, those are the words you want to hear. I was blessed, because that is the reason we are there, not to just go up and everybody, we're marching to Zion. How can you be blessed by that? It makes sense you stay home.
Sure.
So yes, it is extremely important.
So here at Colby, what songs do the church respond to well? Because you know
Let
everybody.
me tell you. Move, Satan, move.
From I've been in from January, there are certain songs that I realized that the church love. You know, Brother Samuel, he's also my assistant. I don't like to call him my assistant, but I want to call him my partner in this. Because when Brother Samuel takes the mic and those call and response songs, seeking the Lord, when he hits those songs, the whole church responds. And I realized that when we did a couple of the praise, we call it praise and worship, or I don't know how else we call it. With those slower, more worship songs, afterwards, a lot of the congregation came to us and they said, listen, we were blessed. So I know they actually love it. And you can look out in the congregation, you see when they lift their hands and they're praising, and that is what we want to see. So I know that they love those songs, and we'll continue with that.
And you could always know what is their favorite song.
Yes.
The slow songs, you know, thank you for the cross.
Thank you for
there
the
is
cross.
none like you. And when it's time to clap those hands, you're bringing them all choruses.
We were doing, as we talk about the praise and worship, we were doing what we did. And bless the Lord,
oh
my soul.
Yes.
And it's like, it's a whole different feeling throughout the whole church. You can see that they were really into it and praising.
What I noticed is when we sing the hymns, but we sing them meditatively,
Yes.
you really see them as if they're in a different place.
And sometimes when we take the hymns and we make them like a worship song instead of just hymns, we rearrange them.
Yes.
Because I remember this Sabbath, Brother Hunter, some song he was explaining, I can't remember. The man lost his. And he gave the backstory to everything. And I sat down hearing the story, but I really didn't listen.
It makes you appreciate the hymn more.
Exactly.
Yes.
And we sang I Come to the Garden Alone, and I never sang it like that. And it was
he lost his 4 daughters and his wife.
This song is written by Horatio G. Spatford. Now this gentleman was a successful lawyer, and he was a very successful businessman. In 1871, his son died, and in that same year, he lost his business in the Chicago fire. 2 years after that, on November 21st, 1873, the French liner Ville de Havre, I hope I pronounced that right, was crossing the Atlantic Sea from US to Europe with 313 passengers on board, including Horatio's 4 daughters that he has left. The ship then collided with another ship, and it sank, killing 226 passengers, including Horatio's 4 daughters that he had left. But in spite of that, when he was passing that same spot, he put pen to paper and he wrote this song, "It is well with my soul." Whatever you're going through, just always remember that God is by your side. And we're going to sing it as how He had planned it to be. When peace like a river. When peace like a river.
I love that man from Galilee, for he has done so very much for me. Yes, he has taken all my sins, and then the Holy Ghost came in. I love that man from Galilee. Learn this one now. Move, Satan, move, let me pass. Move, Satan, move, let me pass. Oh, let me pass. I am born again, I'm saved and sanctified. Move, Satan, move, let me pass. Let's do it again. Move, Satan, move. Tell him. Move, Satan, move, let me pass. Let me pass. Move, Satan, move, let me pass. Oh, let me pass. I am born again, I'm saved and sanctified. Move, Satan, move, let me pass. Oh, I know where I'm going. I know where I'm going. I know. Church bells are ringing. Happy children are singing. I know where I'm going. I know where I'm going. I know where I'm going. I know. Church bells are ringing. Happy children are singing. I know where I'm going. Some sweet day, I'm going away. Gonna leave this world, no more to roam. Some sweet day, when life is over. Some sweet day, I'm going away. Some sweet day, I'm going away. Gonna leave this world, no more to roam. Some sweet day, when life is over.
You mentioned previously that you have a diverse team. Now, how do you manage with that diversity? Because you have teens, young adults, and those who are young at heart.
Actually, for some people, it will be a headache, but I think for our team, it's wonderful. Why do I say that? I like to make leaders out of everybody I can find. And a part of management is also to disseminate certain tasks. So for us, each person gets a chance to lead. And when they do that, you realize that you have diverse styles of worship coming out. So the younger or the teenagers the worship, then you find that they appeal to the younger congregation. But still, when the elders do it, and I mean elders as in the young at heart, thank you. When they lead it, then it's for that type of congregation. So you have not just coming every single week with the same type of style and appealing to the same type of people. You appeal to every single person there. And that is what you actually want. The worship is for everybody, so we appeal to everybody.
Total membership involved.
Yes.
TMI. Is your team required to present their song list to you to be scrutinized due to the lyrics that do not represent what we believe in as Seventh-day Adventists? So is it a requirement?
Yes. On our last session with Brother Kevin Weeks, we mentioned beats or listening that may not represent what we believe in and how they may slowly creep into the church. What is your stand on that?
Okay, that word scrutinize, use perusal. So we have our chat, and as we said, we make different leaders every single week. that leader would send the list of songs in the group chat. And in the group chat, it is open for everybody to see the song, research the lyrics, and everybody can give their input. Because some of the times I can miss, and I have missed already, and I'm glad that we have the team to actually realize that, hey, listen, this song, I remember one of the times, I don't remember if it was Sabbath School, the Sabbath School superintendent requested a song, but it was unknown to her that this song had that type of lyrics. It was a nice song, but it just had one part that was not what we actually believe in. And I put it in a chat, and afterwards several persons came to me and they said, listen, I found this in the song, and I'm so glad that we have that type of communication. Yes. Because myself, I would have missed that because the song was a nice song.
Yes.
So I'm glad we have that type of communication where we put it in a chat. It is perused not only for lyrical content, but also that everybody can learn the song. Mm-hmm. So it is a group effort, I must say.
Yes, because as we rightfully said, as praise team leaders, we're ushering the congregation to the throne room of God, and we do not want to do that in error.
Yes.
How did you come to love gospel music? We heard you sing, we've seen you play. How have you come to love gospel music?
Two ways. The first, growing up, I love singing two type of genres. One, love songs. Don't judge me. And two, gospel music. And you know why? When I sing other genres, it's just singing for singing's sake. But anytime I touch like a love song, like I'm pouring out, and then I realize then when I start singing gospel songs, it's even more intense. When I close my eyes, I don't care who you be, I block you out. I'm sorry, sometimes I do this at church too, but when I close my eyes, I block out everybody, and I'm just really into that song because it's like it's just worship only. No matter what, you close your eyes and gospel music just takes you on a whole different level. The second one is I'm from a musical family. I'm not sure of the code because it's a lot. 13 aunts and uncles by my mother's side. 13 to 15, so I'm not sure. 13 to 15 on my father's side. I know one is 13, one is 15. I don't remember. Both sides, my father, he plays keyboard at church up to this very day. My brother took over from him when we were growing up. And then, so both sides, they're very good at music, but especially the Gordon side, my mother's side, they take it on a whole different level. Now, anytime we have, imagine 15 aunts and uncles, you can imagine the cousins running around.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So when we have family reunion, it is a very big family reunion. And when my aunts and uncles and cousins get together and remember on that side of family, I think even the dog that walks in the yard can howl something and it's a perfect pitch. I'm telling you, you just want to sit and listen, but when they sit down, it's only gospel. And it's a cappella, old time a cappella gospel.
Ooh, I can imagine just sitting in that house.
I'm trying to imagine it.
I'm telling you. And that just grew my love for gospel music. I love it. They made me love gospel music. And even now, if they come together in this room, they will draw a crowd here. And they're just doing it out of love. They just love to sit down once. Is it that domino is playing or they're singing? Nothing else.
So let me ask this, how many instruments do you play?
They say I'm the jack of all trades but the master of none. I play saxophone. Well, I used to play the saxophone. I don't know what I can do on it now, but I'll take it up back. A little bit of the keyboard, the guitar, block.
The drums. He was playing drums on Sabbath. I was a little confused. I said, why is he not holding the guitar but he behind the drums? I was shocked.
I want to be the master of all, but I just think I'm glad, I'm happy to be a master of, not a master, just a jack of all trades. I just want to be on every single instrument, learn to play every single instrument. But the thing is, most instruments, especially if they're tuned instruments, most of them have this same type of, remember, it's just seven actual notes. And in between that, you have the semitones and all of that. So, if you go on a different instrument, it's basically the same thing. It is to just learn how the notes are set to be. And once you get past that first stage, you have it.
Okay. So it should be easy for you to play the bass on guitar?
Yeah, I heard that last week. I heard that last week.
No one has called me. Why is that?
Go out.
I would love to learn the bass.
And which instrument you said you wanted to play?
Saxophone.
Saxophone.
Yeah, teacher there. You should encourage him to start to pick it back up.
I had a saxophone. I sent it to Suriname because of Miss Rona. I have not received it back yet. So I hopefully when things get back to normal, I'll get my saxophone and I can start practicing.
Open a music school. That's all you should do.
I wish.
So, Brother Hunter, can music be considered your lifeline? You gave us a whole history of your family just now and their love for music. So, can it be considered your lifeline?
Okay. Since I gave my family history, I'm going to give my history. So, I wanted to become a pilot. I studied sciences in school, mixture of sciences and arts. Arts being history and music. Those are the other part. So when I finished school, I realized, listen, the money for aviation school, it wasn't chicken feed. It wasn't chicken feed. That was what, 2007. And then I received a call that in CXC music, I did the CXC music, I was placed first place in the whole country. And I said, what? That was in Jamaica. And I said, you know what, since I love music, let me go into that field. So I had an amazing music teacher. So I decided to go into this field because I wanted to choose a field, just like aviation, that I love and it's not like I'm working. I want to be in a field that I'm getting paid to do something that I love. So I said, music is that field. So I went to study music and now I am here.
Amazing.
So music is my lifeline.
Amazing.
I hear the Savior say, the strength indeed is small. Child of weakness, watch and pray, finding me my all in all. Jesus paid it all to Him my own. Sin has left the crimson stain. He washed it white as snow.
For now indeed I find thy heart and thine alone can change the leper's wants and melt the heart of stone. Jesus paid it all to Him I owe. Sin has left the crimson stain. He washed
stain. He washed it white as snow.
As the praise team leader, what are your short and long-term goals for your ministry?
For short term, I want to. While I grew up in Jamaica, they have this music day that they have, and I'm telling you, it is a soul-filled music day. It's lovely. Different singers, different musicians. I want to bring that here. We already discussed it, and we're going to have it here. That's my short-term goal. For my long-term goal, I want to create leaders out of the praise team. That when I say next person, it's a no-brainer. I also want for the church to reach in such a way that when we say it's time for worship, they're there from early, and every single person is singing. Not me coming and trying to pump you up to worship God. So we want it to reach to that level where as we say it's time for praise and worship, you're there and ready to give your all praise and worship. Yes.
And I would like to reiterate, you come to pour or lay it all at the altar to Christ when you have been receiving throughout the week. So you have been plugging into Christ throughout the week in worship, in prayer, in studying His Word, that when you arrive to church on Sabbath, that there is nothing more you want to do but to surrender to Christ and give Him praise and glory for bringing you throughout the week and for assisting you or bringing you over those hurdles that you would have acquired, that you would have acquired throughout the week. So Brother Hunter, we want to thank you for being on CBLink with us.
Thank you for having me. It has been fun.
Yes.
I must say it has been fun.
And we would like to remind our viewers that worship is not part of your life. It is all of your life. So I'm your host, Tammie Marsham.
And I'm Kelron Baylor.
And thank you for watching CBLink. Tune in every Thursdays at 7.